precious beauty of God. When I say those words, when I exclaim that truth, let your heart tremble. Let your heart receive it so deeply that you squirm. Because the squirming is the pushing out of the resistance. There is something within the squeeze that is so brilliant. The squeeze is a place that you begin to recognize and begin to invite, because it is an indication of transformation. If you keep looking at it through the ego, I don't like how this feels uncomfortable, I'm scared of it. That's the ego's ploy to make it as resistant as possible. And the ego keeps showing you that it should be a certain kind of pretty, a certain kind of liking, a certain kind of feeling that you have identified as your good feelings. But when you begin to go past the duality of good and bad and what you've made up, you open to the transformation so much more easily. You invite it. You're no longer cautious of trying to control the healing and the way that it's supposed to occur and how you look at it, but that you truly surrender that idea and just recognize the squeeze and anticipate and welcome its presence, because it is transformation. It is that at the end of that squeeze, you're going to be aware in a so much more full place, the truth of your being, the truth of the universe, the truth of love, the truth of peace. Every squeeze, every transformation has been perfectly orchestrated for you. The divine, the brilliance of and the power of the divine is so everything that the divine is aware of what everyone needs perfectly. It is never an accident of one healing lesson going to the wrong neighbor. No. Everything is perfectly orchestrated. And so you can welcome and are called to welcome the squeeze. And what you will discover is that the squeeze begins to transform itself, and that it's no longer a fear, but it's a squeeze, a loving squeeze that is gently pushing out the lies, and then they disappear and you forget them. You actually totally forget them. All the lies, all the false ideas. Miracle of the divine is that in that squeeze, in that healing, it disappears. You could have held shame for 10,000 years and keep recalling it to say, this is what I believed in, this is what I did, and it's gone. It's gone. And the squeeze was the instrument. And the squeeze is only a squeeze by definition of what you make of it. If it is the arms of God wrapped around you and squeezing you so tightly that everything else that's not true just pops away, or you see it as a threat, the squeeze will still continue. It'll show up again and it'll show up again because it is love. So you can postpone it or try to control it. But love will envelop you. It's because it's what you are. Welcome the squeeze. Every element that you come up against that is with reaction is a treasure. It's a treasure of seeing what's in the way. And just in that acknowledgement that it's just in the way. It's not who you are. Let the squeeze take you. And the light that you truly are will get so much brighter, not because it hasn't always been bright, but because it was hidden behind fear. And the fear is disappearing. Allowing everything to be put into the truth and the trust of the divine. When you ask yourself, what is loyalty? What is your loyalty connected to? It may have been that you had loyalty in the world to a good job or nice things or whatever, but the real loyalty is to the love that is everything. And you give everything to love. Every idea of ownership, possession, needs, everything just surrendered because everything is love. And the comfort of love keeps you going deeper. Mother, I beg for your love. As I've said so many times, begging is for you. It's for who is ever asking for love. It's just so that the heart just breaks open with that memory and wanting to fully invite and be that love. Mother, I beg for your love. I beg you for your compassion. I beg you for your light. I beg you for the forgiveness. Help me in my darkness. Help me find your sun. Reveal the way to my light. Reveal the way to my Father. I'm a daughter of the Queen. I'm a daughter of compassion. Help me be in the light. Help me open my heart. Every word, every line is everything that is waiting for everyone. You are the compassion. You are the light. You are the forgiveness. Let the compassion within you find its way to the heart so that you can live in that compassion. The daughter, the son of the Queen. The daughter, the son of compassion. Saying yes. That's where we live. I ask for comfort from the kings and the queens, the forest and the sea. I ask for comfort from the princes, the princesses, the forest and the heavens and the sea. And I ask that light to come and illuminate me. I ask for comfort from the angels, from the heavens, the forest and the sea. And I ask for comfort from the saints to come and illuminate me. Eu peço conforto às reis do céu, da floresta, do mar. Peço conforto às rainhas para nos iluminar. Eu peço conforto às príncipes do céu, da floresta, do mar. Peço conforto às princesas para nos iluminar. Eu peço conforto aos anjos do céu, da floresta, do mar. Peço conforto a santos para nos iluminar. Comfort from the divine is always given, is always offered. When you ask for it, it is so happily given. And it opens your mind and your heart to remember that love is the generosity of the universe. And it lives and thrives within you. It is what you are. I bet there is another way. How many times do you need to hear who you are before you begin to cash some of that in and stop acting like a beggar for any kind of attention from people who do not really love you? Sweeping the streets the way that some do, with eyes that might covet, is no longer fitting to us, for we are everything's Lord. There is no pride in my face, just the opposite, for I got to this great position in making myself ready every moment to serve another. All the alertness any creature might know, all primal strength and agility I would use to care for you in a way a divine lion would its cub. I don't want you to leave and go back into any world that can frighten. What can I do? I bet there is another way. How many times do you need to hear who you are, what you are? Would it be enough to play a recording all day long telling you who and what you are? If that's what it takes, then let that be. Before you begin to cash some of that in and stop acting like a beggar. Stop acting like a beggar is it's a strong offering. No one, probably unless they're holding themselves as that identity, but nobody wants to act like a beggar. And what is a beggar? To believe that you are without, that God would choose you to be less, that God would leave you without everything that is truly helpful for you. A beggar is not a beggar sometimes when they are called a beggar. There are many beloveds who are called to humble themselves into asking and depending on others to bestow charity on them, so that The beloved who is bestowing charity receives the healing of that offering. But the beggar that this is speaking to is the one who has decided that they've been gypped, that they've been unfairly treated. It's a deep belief that runs through humanity, all agreeing in the same belief of scarcity, all believing that there's a scarcity of love. And here is the calling to refuse, to realize you are the Lord of everything, that you are the extension of the divine, that the divine is all that you are. Nothing else exists. And even when you don't understand or touch yet the vastness, the perfection, the oneness, even when you're not aware of it, it's to carry it in your heart in its promise. It's like a child who doesn't know their talents or their gifts. They don't have that awareness, but they rely on a teacher to hold that truth with them and for them. And God holds that truth until you are ready to accept that you are the extension of God in all of its glory. That faith, that trust, that acceptance is the doorway. And sometimes the squeeze takes you to the place where that is what the squeeze is really about. It's really about, do you trust me? This is God speaking. Do you trust me? You put your faith in a deeper truth than you've ever known before. Trust that I will not leave you on your own. I will not trick you. I will not fool you. I will not lie, because there is no possibility of lying in God. And in that, you rest. That's all that's asked, is that you rest in that acceptance. That is where your peace is. That is where you will discover your divine self, resting in God. To stop acting like a beggar. In the world, it's for any kind of attention from people who do not really love you. When we are called to look at relationships that we've made in the world, and to see that in honesty, when we open those doors, we see the beggar who wanted something from someone because it seemed like it was out there. And all of love is saying constantly, it's all within. You have everything. And then in that everything, to be so full is to have to offer it. You have to offer your happiness. You have to offer your compassion. And the beggar disappears. And all the ideas of trying to get from others disappears too, because there's a divine equality that you begin to embrace. And you discover that that's where the power is. The power is in the realization that every beloved is whole and complete. You raise them up with your own heart of their strength and their light and their wisdom. Even if they don't know it for another 500 years, it's still the truth of them. And you are giving them the key to the door by offering them the truth. And the beggar disappears. No longer needed, no longer believed in. Sweeping the streets the way that some do, with eyes that might covet, is no longer fitting to us, for we are everything's Lord. This is not pride. This is not, I'm more than you, so I'm hold it over you. No. This is, we are everything's Lord. The benevolence of love, the compassion of love, the strength of love. To covet, to fear, is no longer fitting for you. It is no longer a place that you can pretend in anymore. You are the messenger of God. This is not a nice idea. This is your heart. This is your calling. This is who and what you are. You're the messenger of God, because the messenger of God is needed. And whoever is sanest, whoever has the awareness of love, even if it's for a flash of a second, is called to serve as the messenger of God. And the most beautiful thing of being the messenger of God, which is natural, is that it becomes your own healing. It is where your healing occurs within, because you can't help but love. And as you offer that love, you are healed in that love. There is no pride in my face, just the opposite. For I got to this great position in making myself ready every moment to serve another. This is the healing of narcissism. There's no need to hide from the word. There's no need to be embarrassed by narcissism. It's an inherent element of separation. If you could hear the echo of humanity, it's all one voice saying, what about me? What about me? What about me? And that's painful. It's a painful place to live, but ready every moment to serve another. And everything turns right side up. Because the giving of love is the receiving of love. And it becomes one love. This is your place of peace. This is your place of truth. This is your place of true reality of your heart of God. All the alertness any creature might know, all strength and agility, I would use to care for you in a way a divine lion would take care of its cub. Just allow yourself to open to that divine energy of the Divine Mother. And that is your light. That is your strength. That is your harmony. And that you wrap your arms, your heart around every beloved. Because you have to. Not by rules, but because your heart longs to. And your compassion wakes up. Your compassion becomes full. And you see everything through your compassion, because compassion is love. I don't want to leave you. I don't want you to leave and go back into any world that can frighten you. There's nothing in the divine that wants you to be frightened. There's nothing in the truth of God that wants you to suffer. And when the realization comes that all the suffering is coming from the mind, and I don't want it. I beg for your love, because that is where my happiness is, in the love of the divine. That's your natural home. That's where finally the running is over. The seeking is over when you come home to that love. And just allow yourself. I don't want you to leave and go back into any world that can frighten you. It isn't God's will for you. And it's right here in the squeeze that allows the begging to disappear. And imagine that in this moment that all of your strategies from all lifetimes could melt away right now. And that you would have no more strategies because you wouldn't have any need for them. How much work is there in strategies? A lot. all of love, all of God, all of the universe wants your happiness. And every squeeze is a gift. Welcome it. Just like when I would be squeezed and Jose would say, "Oh, this is so beautiful. You're receiving your healing." And he was so happy because he knew the truth. Not just the truth that he knew, but he knew that that squeeze was the gift. He had bowed to the squeeze, and he asked everyone to bow to the squeeze and be celebrating the gift. There is another way, and the other way is to invite the squeeze, invite the healing, invite the transformation of love, because you are the Lord of everything. You're the beauty of all creation. Accepting it, even that is a squeeze. But let it be.